G'day, this is Captainoob, and this is an RSh-12. This is a gigantic revolver from Russia, chambered in a 50 caliber round, or the Russian 50 caliber round. For simplicity and gameplay's sake, it is chambered in the standard vanilla game 50 caliber round, but in real life, this thing would fire, at least in its big bullet form, a 12.7 by 55mm Russian round, which is big. Check out the comparison on screen now. Sitting right next to the 7.62 NATO round, it's a big bullet for a big revolver, so it's going to kick a lot. And it'll also have a small ammo capacity as a product of that, because it's only got a 5-round revolving tube compared to your standard 6-round revolving tube, your 6-shooters that the Cowboys used to use, the big 44s. And another thing that this thing deviates from the standard vanilla game revolvers is that it actually fires from the bottom round in the tube there, the cylinder, sorry. So that's a little bit like the Chiappa Rhino, and it's cool. I don't know whether that'll cause problems with the sights being so high above the barrel compared to your standard revolvers, but it makes it look cool, right? Yeah, it's a pretty cool looking thing. It's got custom sounds and animations and a little bit of customization, so let's get into it, shall we? First of all, we've got the receivers, and just like the standard 44 Magnum or Western revolver, you got from standard to advanced, there's only 4 receivers here. 402 damage is pretty good. No option of having like a calibrated receiver for busting out as many criticals as possible, or doing as much damage with criticals. But for a revolver, like, it's a no-brainer that you'd have that sort of option as a thing. I don't know why they didn't do that in Fallout 4 or 76. Actually, they did it in 76. They fixed it. They realized their mistake, but nothing like that in Fallout 4. You gotta mod that in, but I feel like that'd be a pretty good choice for revolvers because they're so slow and misses are costly. So if you use them in VATS and getting a lot of damage through VATS criticals, then you can get some good synergy there and make up for the weapons' otherwise shortcomings. And we've got some grips here, polymer or comfort. They all say standard, but this one requires gun nut rank 2, so I reckon that'd be the best. Plus it's comfortable. Win-win. Next up, we've got the sights. We've got standard iron sights. You can put an ACOG on this thing, aim point, glow sights if you want a little bit more of a subtle approach. You can also throw on some reflex sights, including a Basker, Seymour, Delta Point, some other Western sights. Is there any Cobra red dot sights? There's nothing. You would have thought a Russian revolver might be packing a little bit more of the Russian sights. So I go for a Basker here because it's a pretty open sight, and I like them. They're pretty good on Fallout gun mod, so we'll keep using it. You can control the recoil a little bit at the cost of range, which is not really worth it because the thing's rate of fire is not really bad enough to warrant you. It's not high enough to warrant you to control the recoil in any way, so you're only screwing yourself over for range. But there's also suppressor options. You'll also notice that the suppressor goes on, the range will go down, the damage won't go up. So Ace Operator is not active here, but don't worry, we can fix that. We'll throw in a subtac suppressor because that matches the color of the rest of the revolver. Legendary slot is there if you need it. I really want something like Deadeye or Instigating on this, but I'll refrain. And here we've got a damage slide, which we're going to pop up to 20% damage. So instead of missing out on the 25% damage from Ace Operator, we're only missing out on just 5%, which is fine. 20, I feel like, is a nice little benefit there from Ace Operator. It's close enough. And you can also have a laser sight on the bottom of the rail here, and that laser sight had options: on, off, beam, or a dot. And that's it. You can go for a dot on this one because the beam, that'll just get us spotted, right? This is a stealth revolver. And that is it for our customization. So pretty cool looking revolver. We'll get shooting stuff. Probably show you how to get it first. Alright, so here we are in Yangtze, the submarine that has the quest attached to it. It's there on the map. The mark is not there for some reason, but the weapon's relatively easy to find. Simply walk inside and there it is on a console right in front of you. Be sure to test out the weapon on the good captain himself, then proceed this way. Trust me. Open up this bulkhead using this terminal. And if a ballistic bullet shooting doesn't do it for you, how about one that uses special Gauss rifle rounds, Comrade's Hammer? You know, because we've got to have that extra communist imagery, even though Russians haven't been communists for a very long time, but maybe they were in the Fallout universe, who knows? Righto, so here we are outside of the Immersive Gunners Plaza. Here is our RSh-12. Everyone gather around, including the crews. The show is about to start, and this is what it looks like in first person. And when you fire, it looks like that, and there's the reload animation if you are wondering. Taking a quick look at this in third person, it's a big, dirty, giant revolver. So we're expecting to see some pretty good damage out of this thing, but there's problems, and we'll get to them as we get to them. Here's the unique electromagnetic inducted version, complete without the hammer out the back, because obviously it's not activating the cartridge with a firing pin on that hammer, so that's kind of elegant. I quite like that. Lastly, here's a scoped version, complete with a scope that is, I don't rate it, okay? There's problems with a see-through scope approach-sure weapon like this, because I'm just going to be firing at this tree. Look at the ACOG going into my frontal lobe when I fire this thing. If I want to get quick follow-up shots, ain't no way, no how, because the screen is going to be moving up, the reticle is going to be moving up to the recoil, and I can't adjust for that unless I try to pull down on the mouse or stick if I was playing on controller to adjust for that. So rapid follow-up shots with this scope don't work, and what's worse is that I can barely see the little glowing chevron in this reflex sight. This is a reflex sight, it's a see-through scope, it's an ACOG. I can barely see it. Like, what am I shooting at right now? Should I put something on the middle of my screen so I can actually nail my targets? In comparison to something like this basket sight, it's a night and day difference, and we're gonna have some problems here. The problems don't stop there. Look, I'm not a big fan of revolver gun mods. They always tend to be terrible when it comes to bullet sponge hell, Fallout 4, but it reminds me of a design philosophy or a design feature that they did when it comes to revolvers back in Battlefield 3. You had two in that game. You had the MP412 Rex and you had the 44 Magnum. When you fired that gun when aiming down sights, the gun wouldn't spring back in your face because obviously you wouldn't be able to tell what you're shooting at. Instead, I remember the gun would go off to the side, like on a 45-degree angle, so you could keep target on what you were actually shooting at, but the gun will dance around in your hands to make it look like there's a bunch of recoil when really there wasn't all that much. But here, we've just got this giant revolver dancing in my face, crushing my skull. The front of my cranium is cracked from the giant revolver frame sprayed into my face. So we've already injured and we haven't even started the fighting yet. So follow-up shots aren't going to be good. So the rub here is, what we might do instead is reload this thing. That's a good start. But we might want to use this thing in VATS, but the pain doesn't stop there, because you might notice on that first guy, at sort of medium ranges, I'm getting 25% chance to hit from back here, and that is basically all of McCready's perk doing the work there. Sure, I'm getting the one-shot kills, but I'm using crits every single time, and stop forgetting to reload, please. We've only got a 5-round magazine if you're not reloading that fast enough. Now, thankfully, we can be carried here. I see that. Okay, there's a bad compatibility problem with VATS and the slowdown time kills thing. Really, I'm thankful that I'm getting so many kills in VATS to actually allow... Whoops, that was weird. Why are we loading the cylinder off one by one? That's weird. But okay, without this thing, I'm shooting roughies until until concentrated fire makes my gun accurate, and even then I feel like I might be getting penalized for half my damage at this particular range. So it looks like the only way you could feasibly use this thing is just use it in third person, and ironically enough, this thing is barely moving at all in the third person animations, but that's more of an oversight. That's not really a thing. So as critical as I am on this, it is working fairly efficiently right now. Granted, we have been sneaking the whole time and getting a 4.4 times multiplier on top of that damage, and, you know, crushing in VATS like that. It doesn't happen all the time. We had a reasonably lucky run for VATS crit generating perks. But I think now is the time to charge, and we might... Well, we killed a lot of gunners, so the pressure's probably a little bit off us now, but if we use this thing and try to use it in first person rapid shots, you want to use it up close, just hip fire this thing, but damage problems. If I can't drop these guys in one magazine, I'm sitting there reloading in front of their face, and they get however many seconds it takes for this thing to reload time to shoot at me. And if I'm not standing in cover, then I'm in bad shape. That one's a little bit better, but it still didn't get the job done on that guy. Although it's cool, I feel like you could have added some sort of sound for this thing, you know, being electromagnetic inducted. We just forget to reload again. Must be not counting the rounds properly. This is a perfect moment for VATS and gun through, but we're going to try to do it without it. Ugh. I feel like when I click the button again, it just cancels the reload. That might be some sort of gun behavior script that I'm abusing there. Or that's abusing me. Probably that's the right way around, but yeah, that's a knock. I think we shot that gunner in the head. I can't see her. She's hiding in the foliage. He's hiding. Sorry, I misgendered you. Take me to Twitter jail. But it's struggling without the use of VATS, which is fine because, like I was talking about before, the strength with a revolver like this, if it's not doing damage consistently enough, just use it in VATS. Spam your criticals. Build your pistol use thing out. You've got fairly decent AP. The other stats do let it down and tell a different story, but you would have thought that a projectile as big as this thing would carry its damage for a little bit longer. Maybe they have to under pressure the round because it'd break your wrist if they had it full pressure. Or perhaps it's just a silly balance thing that they probably could have taken a quick look at before they hit the publish button. Or maybe I'm just being a nitpicky, but I'm going to tell it like it is. Wow, that was some cool breakdancing moves. Give you a nice pistol whip. How's that sound? It looks like Tactical is showing up today. I won't betray him unless he gets in my way. See how long he takes to survive. Oh, I think that was me. After I said I wouldn't betray him, I give him the Stewie Doo treatment. If you know, you know. Stop it. Tell you what, gun bashing getting a good deal today. That's twice the usual amount of gun bashes that I get. Although 0 times 0 is still 0, so it's infinitely more than I get, and probably could have aimed better in that encounter. Yes. See, this is why, Ayla, I don't make you a sharpshooter. You're always a grenadier. You know how to aim the cannons and the grenade launchers, but handguns, you can't do it. Okay. Okay. That was a faster rate of fire. We must have fanned the hammer for those couple of shots, but I'm not really a fan of this, I'll be honest. Like, revolvers in this game, unless they're doing VATS, then I just don't see the appeal. Now, you could just crank the damage up to 90%. That'll sort of offset the penalties offered by the very high difficulty. That's better. That's slightly more consistent. That plasma gun is ripping me a new asshole. There we go. Alright, the job is done, but by goodness, it was, that was a pain. A pain in the ass. Just a general annoyance there. Not the most fun run of Immersive Gunners Plaza I've ever had, but I'll try to lighten up. We'll see if this thing can take down bosses and stuff. It's got a suppressor, right? How bad could it be? Alright, we might have to flog VATS a little bit, but I'm confident that we can win this fight. There we go. There's our first kill. The dude didn't even spot me. Now, the problem here is that if we get range on this guy, we're going to have to, well, it'll probably be about 3 shots until we start hitting. Although, we still get multiple shots in if that happens regardless, but I probably could have refilled the old crit bar before I attempted this. There's one. We'll let that one go. Excellent. Well, that's not a terrible start, but well, this guy's such a gigantic target, so I may as well just go for it, right? Try to break on his side. Nope. Okay, well, what else can this thing do? Maybe I should switch to the one with a reflex sight. It doesn't look like I'm getting that much of a penalty, to be honest. Crits now. It's got a good damage amount, right? But I guess that's sort of a weakness of revolvers. It's low capacity and its reload time, which is, it's fine. It's not super long, but And the fact that you have to reload so frequently means it'd probably be slightly better suited to a singular target where you don't have to take out a whole lot of other dudes around it, you know? That laser sight right on Swan's face and sometimes still missing. That's just a Todd Howard thing right there. Also, I'm quite impressed that the laser sight is sort of projected so accurately. Skip over that one, mate. Excellent. Don't forget to reload. That's like the 18th time that's happened. We've got a full AP bar. May as well use it. That's 3 shots until we finally found the target there. Has he hit mutation yet? Probably about due for it. Maybe? I don't think he has yet. It'd be great if he hasn't. Oh. Must already have been? Yes, sir. I haven't been really paying attention. I've been more paying attention to dodging his ruck attacks, but as a surprising turnaround, it's for taking on the Swan like this, it's doing a pretty good job. It's actually holding its own against him. I can probably out DPS him here, and that's thanks to the fact that this thing has got such giant bullets in it, but all of the flaws that I sort of pointed out when taking on gunners, it's not super valid on this guy because he's such a big target that I don't really need to see him to hit him anyway, right? And there's only one that I have to deal with, and I'm getting shot from 1,200 different angles, so that's great. Can we finish this off with a bit of nerd rage? Go for some headshots. Not quite. Luckily, I got this one. Damn it. Alright, so perhaps the main role of this revolver is the stealth-killing boss machine, the Midnight Revolver. Every shine reflection looks the same in the shine of the Midnight Revolver. Just gotta make sure we hit those roughies. That would have been great if we got all of those in, but even so, we just crushed this ghoul right there. Okay, I think... And I guess that's the giant advantage this thing does have over the revolvers in the vanilla game, except for the pipe one, but that's kind of weak and no one cares about it. It's the fact that you can put a suppressor on it and you get all these stealth advantages, so using it during the night for a stealthy operation, that's probably going to be where it's best, but during the day against a shitload of gunners, then... no. The answer is no, and this bloody blood bug better not... You get back here, you spindly bastard. Never mind, got ya. But I think you get the idea. So that there was the RSh-12. It's a really good weapon mod, but... oh, it struggles. It doesn't have a lot of versatility, and I think that might be the main issue that I have with it. Other than that, the presentation is great. This thing feels powerful when you fire it, because it's got that, you know, recoil animation that makes it look like it kicks like a mule. It's got the damage numbers to back it up, and if they don't back it up, then you can make it back it up by cranking those up a little bit if you feel like it, but the presentation on this thing is great. It's just that revolvers in this game just aren't that good, and it suffers from a lot of the problems that the revolvers have, but that's not really the fault of the modder, you wouldn't have thought. So I do recommend it, despite me having a few more problems than usual. So if you are interested in seeing this in your game, check out the link in the description. If there's no Xbox version of this, hang on, obligatory big iron on your hip as well. It's a classic holstered weapons. It works with it, and it works with it well. Yeah, if there's no Xbox, I'll try to find an alternative. A Chiappa Rhino, I've done one of those before. It was performed probably similarly to this, but if there's no version of these things on Xbox, then expect an alternative. And on that, thank you very much for watching. See you next time.